Chika, Mari, thanks so much for joining us on Being and Making Disciples. It's great to have you with us tonight.
Thanks for
Thanks for
having
having
us.
us, Dan.
Oh, you bet. I'm really excited for this. So both of you are doing right now. Like you do what we talk about. This show is all about being and making disciples. So living as a follower of Jesus Christ and helping other people do that. And that's your full-time gig. Like you've taken what all Christians are supposed to do and you've just decided I'm doing nothing else but this with my entire life. So that's pretty cool. I at least think it's really cool.
Yeah, it's so weird to hear you say it like that because it's
I was
like,
thinking the same thing.
man, my life is awesome.
Yeah.
It's, yeah, that is pretty cool.
I somebody told me a line, like, it was a long time ago. He's basically like, "I'm a paid Christian. Like, I just get paid to do what I'm supposed to do anyway." But that doesn't sound as good.
Right.
But it sounds because we are supposed to do all this, right? Like
Yeah,
everyone's
yeah.
supposed to be
So it's kinda like we're the ones
making
who figured out
disciples.
how to make a living out of doing the thing Jesus asked us to do, which is that's I'm happy with it. I love it.
It's a interesting thing that like it's a grace in this moment in history that we can make a living, a
Mhm.
comfortable living, nothing like super, nothing, not even
Yeah,
super,
yeah.
nothing lavish, that we get to live and thrive um, and preach the gospel full time. Like, that's
Mhm.
amazing. Yeah, it's such a grace.
It really is. I mean, like throughout history, there have not been a lot of people, just lay people, who go out and do this. And
Mhm.
I mean, like when it's happened, they typically turn into religious. Like I don't know that Saint Francis started out thinking like I'm gonna be a religious. I'm gonna start a religious order. I think he's just like I need to do this differently. Like I need to live the
Mhm.
gospel, and that
Mhm.
turned into a religious order. Like if there's any Franciscan historians out there, forgive me if I'm messing that up. Like you might be like, of course he wanted to start a religious order. That was his goal all along. Not knocking on it. It was a good thing, but just as far as lay people really like being able to go out there and do this
Mhm.
full time, that's pretty novel. So I'm happy about it. Well, let me do a couple introductions. So, Chika, I'm going to start with you just because you're right next to me on the screen. So, you work for Vagabond Missions, and you're currently hanging out in Pittsburgh, which is why you're wearing the scarf, and Madi and I are not wearing scarves. Um, and you do something really cool, is in that you go and work with people who frequently have never heard the gospel, so unchurched people,
Mhm.
or for whatever reason just haven't been introduced to the main message of Christianity. And these are also people who are very much underprivileged. So whether that's financially or some other way, that's your audience. That's who you spend time with, right?
Yes. Yeah, so I'm a director of formation or director of missionary care for Vagabond Missions, and our goal is to mobilize missionaries to go into inner cities, underserved communities, to share the gospel, to let young people especially know that they are loved, that they are seen, and that they are respected. So part of the job that I have is to train and form these missionaries that come from all walks of life. Some of our missionaries are they used to be teens who we discipled, who missionaries discipled, and are now going into areas that they either lived in or areas where they recognize a need, and they are now discipling other young people. So it's so wild and so beautiful. Um, we also host camps where teens from all of our different sites. Currently, we have 10 sites throughout the country. We are opening 3 new sites next year. Oh my gosh. So in 2022, we're opening 3 new sites and we host camps for them, retreats. We take them on retreats and conferences. We have these youth centers called undergrounds where they come. There's always food because we understand that a lot of our young people deal with food insecurity. There's always just someone to listen and to love on them. And we invite them into the church as well after getting to know them and just hanging out with them. A lot of the teens will ask, like, what is it about you uh, that makes you the way that you are? And then we can introduce them to Jesus. So we have something called Jesus class, which is RCIA. And some of the young people, they want to know more about Jesus because they've met these missionaries who have discipled them and they come into the church. So, um, yeah, it's a beautiful ministry and it's such a blessing. And it's so weird. Like, I picked up my life from Southern California to move to Pittsburgh and I'm wearing a scarf indoors. Go figure.
Well, it's a great accessory if nothing else. But
Thank you.
You're doing what Jesus did. Like just going and being with people. And I think sometimes we complicate Christianity to the point where it's like, well, how do we do this? And
Yeah.
uh, there's a question that I like to ask myself when I'm planning something. If this were easy, what would it look like? And it sounds like
Mm,
somebody just asked that question. Like, if this were easy, what would it look like? It would look like going and spending time with kids who don't even have what they need to eat and giving them that to them and then talking to them about Jesus.
yeah. Bob Lesneski is a founder of Vagabond Missions, and he's this dude that's like tatted up from from face to feet. I'm sure. He just. I remember one time we were having a meeting and we were having dinner, and he leaves for a while. He comes back and he just has like a couple of people who he just calls off the street, and he's like, "Hey, we have dinner. Do you want to come have dinner with us? Because we have food." Like that's it. It's so simple. It's that invitation, whatever it is, whether it's, come have dinner with us, come hang out, here's a safe place. We are blessed to have people who donate to the mission, donate to our salaries. When we're talking about like, oh, I get paid for this, well, we fundraise our money, and it's very biblically based, as Paul and so many of the other disciples were taken care of from the means and materials of other believers. And
Mhm.
so people who believe in the mission are so kind and generous that they donate so that we can live and eat and so that we can do this mission. Um, but it is simple in some ways, where it's just that invitation. And then in other ways, we complicate it with so much more. But yeah.
Yeah, no, good stuff. Well, something you said that I really, really like was the people who used to be in the program who were discipled by other missionaries. Now it's kind of come full circle, and they're the ones who are reaching back out to their communities, either places they live or like where they lived. And to me, that's the goal, because then
Yeah.
it's a community saying, these are like, this is my home and this is so important to me that I want to bring this message here. So to me, that's the fruit that you want to see. There's nothing more than that you would want to see.
Absolutely. And there's no sense of like saviorism. We know that Jesus is a savior. We just want to love on people the way that our Lord did, and to make it grassroots. So we go into a community, and we're not just there for a little bit, but we really want to know the people of the community, who owns that restaurant, what kid goes to which school. Um, and sometimes that even means like knowing the law enforcement that is there, so if a kid does get in trouble, we can say, like, hey, this is a situation. We are here. We don't want to get them in the system. We want to mentor them. We want to
Yeah,
love
yeah.
on them. So let's help
Mhm.
out with that. So there are opportunities to really get to know. And our missionaries actually live in the communities in which they serve. It may not be the same city, but it's very as close as possible to the missions that they serve. We also get committees from that area that can help us. So if I'm coming from California here to Pittsburgh, I may not know the communities that well, but because we have volunteers and we have a committee from the area, they can help for me so that I can, just I want to be able to love to the best of my ability. And that means getting to know the area. So, what better way to know it than from the people who are there?
Yeah, yeah.
And our missionaries who were teens who are now missionaries, I mean, it's amazing. It's so beautiful to see their hearts just blossom and bloom for the Lord and for their brothers and sisters in Christ.
That's awesome. Well, I want to hear more about it, but I want to hear more about what Mari does. So, Mari, you
Yeah,
have
girl.
recently you started working with Evangelical Catholic. Prior to that, you were
Ish.
working at so was it an all girls Catholic high school in South
God,
Florida?
no.
Oh, okay,
No.
and co-ed.
It was sorry, but I love the complementarity of the section. So it was a co-ed high school. I was a campus minister, and I taught morality and sacraments for 8 years
Okay.
there. And it was a school that I went to school at. So
Oh, that's really fun. So I mean, kind of
it
that,
was
like
an
just like what we were
awesome.
talking about. You were a teen there for a while, and then you came back. But
I did.
now you're working with Evangelical Catholic, which is one of
Mhm.
my absolute favorite Catholic ministries out there that helps parishes embrace missionary discipleship. And like we can't have enough of these. Like we need more of them. Until everybody in the church thinks that the phrase Catholic missionary disciple is redundant, we need more people
Mhm.
talking about it. And Evangelical
Absolutely.
Catholic is doing it as well as anybody.
Mhm.
So like one, how did that happen? How'd you get involved with them? And what do you all do to help move the needle?
Yeah, so the how it happened is, uh, people think I'm like, "This is ridiculous." So, I had felt that the Lord was calling me to something new, and I told him, "It's almost May, that's when you sign contract as a teacher," and I was like, "God, I really need you to kind of let me know. I feel called somewhere else, but I don't fully know what you're calling me to. So I give you full permission. I give you until the end of this week. I've applied nowhere and done nothing, but you're God, so you can make it happen." And I said, like, "Okay, Lord, but I'm serious," because I had been saying a similar prayer for all, like, the whole year, pretty much. And finally, I was like, "Okay, Lord, this is it. You're in charge. Amen." And within 2 hours, I got an email from the Evangelical Catholic, which I had never heard of before. Fun fact. And they had found me on LinkedIn, and they were like, "Hey, we're not even sure if you're looking for a job or not, but we saw you and we just feel really called. Like, would you be interested in taking like a 15-minute meeting?" And that's how that happened. Honestly, like, I laugh because it's like Jesus knows me so well and he knows that I need him to be very clear. That's how I ended up moving back to Miami too. Like, very clear with what he wants me to do. He's not always that good. You're always good, but you know what I'm saying. He's not always that clear, but he was definitely clear with that. And when I heard about what the Evangelical Catholic is doing, they explained this whole process, and then finally I was like, "So you're doing what Jesus did?" And they're like, "Yeah, exactly." It's called like they call it the mission process, and it's literally we work with I'm a consultant, so I work with parishes and universities across America, and I work with like 2 or 3 people that are the main people. And then we discern together and pray. And the focus is, okay, first of all, like, how's your prayer life doing? We invest in making sure that they're being fed spiritually, that they're in a good place to be able to go out. And we really encourage the lay people. It's all about encouraging the laity to take the ownership of we're being called. It's not just about priests and religious. If you look at numbers, the laity is where it's at. Like, we need to be able to take ownership of that. And so we literally do a mission process, and it's we take time and we pray about people to invite, and then we invest in a group of kind of like Jesus invested in 12 disciples. We invest in a group of 6 to 12 people, and we walk with them for 4 months, and we walk with them and see what we can do and train them and help them grow and talk about their spiritual life and talk about the mass and talk about all these things, but also how to have conversations with people, like how to literally there's a whole section that's how to have conversations. And these are some good questions to ask because unfortunately we live in a world where people don't know how to have real conversations, like authentic conversations
Yeah,
that
yeah.
we're asking questions about your heart and what's going on. And it's not just the weather is really nice today, like, but real conversations. And then we encourage them to start their own apostolate and to go out. And it's not a ministry, it's not even an official ministry of the parish or the university. It's just you're the laity and this is what we're called to do. So we're going to invest in you and go and invite people from your parish, invite people from your family, invite your friends, invite people that you work with, and do a small group or go, axe throwing and then talk about Jesus after. It's just doing activities and encouraging people to be the church. It's literally what we do. And it's been really beautiful because as a student, as a teacher, with my students, you do that. And I've worked with them and I absolutely love, and I miss my kids every day. Everyone knows that. It's no secret to anyone. But here it's like, well, what happens after? And how can we encourage people after? And how can we meet them after they graduate high school and really continue the church and help it grow into just encouraging people to be who we were created to be and to invite others to do the same.
I really like that you encourage people to start their own apostolate because sometimes the parish can get a little cluttered and people almost feel
Mhm.
like they need permission to it's like nobody needs permission to evangelize. Like you would need permission from Jesus not to. And
Mhm.
like I don't think he's going to give it. So
Mhm.
like you said, we need to take everybody needs to take responsibility for this. And
Yeah.
um the I kind of like encouraging people to think of the parish as a geographical boundary. So like if it's a zip code, like that's where your parish is. And If
Mhm.
something is happening in your parish, it doesn't mean it's happening in the church or in the
Mhm.
classrooms for where they do CCD. It means it's happening
Mhm.
in your home in that parish
Mhm.
boundary. So
Mhm.
people in Louisiana get that better than anybody else, I think, because like they don't even have counties. It's just like that's your parish. That's
It's
where it is.
Yeah.
parishes.
Yeah.
Like
As it should be.
100%. Yeah.
Um,
It's so true.
well, that's really fun. So um, the there's a lot of directions we could go from here, but I would imagine that for both of you, you Chica, especially with like young people when they're meeting you for the first time, or if you're talking with them or working with missionaries, and then Mari when you're working with parish leaders, they want to know like, what about you? How did you end up doing this? Like, why aren't you, like working in sales or doing something else somewhere? So I
I
encourage
did work
people to
in
have
sales.
like, yeah, no, we do, you're right, yeah, but why don't you
Guys,
tell
yeah,
them?
like I did. I worked in sales for like
Yeah,
3
yeah.
years of my life.
Um, but if you walked onto an elevator and somebody turned to you and saw that you had a crucifix on, or maybe you had like that Rambo Joseph like tattooed on your arm or something, and they're like, "Hey, what's up with that?" And you had 1 minute to explain why you're a Catholic, what would you say? And we're gonna go Madi first.
The person that put her eyes like this. Okay, yes. Um, Grew up Catholic, saw miracles happen before my eyes. Literally, people in wheelchairs just get up and start walking. Knew the Lord was real, but had a lot of questions and kind of wanted ownership of my faith. And spend most of my childhood in a hospital. So I've had 13 ear surgeries. I was supposed to die. Long story short, Jesus miracle, I'm alive. And through that, I encountered the Lord as a real person that helped me to overcome all of those obstacles. And I realized that we had to be created for something more than this world. And that's when I kind of started having a conversation, a real relationship with the Lord. Then went to high school, and high school in Miami is really hard. Was a hypocrite for a while, and kind of wasn't sure how to live out my faith fully, and then decided to go all in when I was a summer missionary at a camp in Georgia. And that's through sacrament of confession and adoration, specifically through the Eucharist. Everything just clicked and made sense. And I knew that that God has to be real. And I decided to give him my full yes. And I had my plans and he totally ruined them and made them way better than I could ever imagine. And it's been the best decision of my life. And every day I'm still making that decisions because every day I have to choose to surrender my life to the Lord and to trust in him. And he is 100% worth it, even in the midst of difficulty.
That's great. So if I were on the elevator with you, I would totally want to stay on and hear more. Like I'd have all sorts of questions for you. So wow,
You
that's
said
so.
1 minute.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. That was like I think probably 15 floors. So that was if it's a big building, then we're good to go. Um, so you had like you knew who that Jesus was real before high school. I think that's got to be unique for a lot of people.
Yeah. I mean, when you're in the midst of so much suffering, um, I don't care how old you are, you have there's just something in you that you desire that relationship with the Lord. Like there's no way that I could have overcome any of that without Him. It just wasn't possible. So huge
Yeah.
blessing to have that at such a young age. But even with that, it wasn't enough until later on in life that I had to have my reversion and do it all over again. So
Why do you think that you didn't become bitter and angry at God for your suffering?
a part of it is like I literally was not supposed to be alive at all. So like when like I'm supposed to be dead. So it was a miracle of like, okay, Lord, like I'm so grateful for my life and I'm so grateful for the fact that I'm here. And I know that that's because of you. And even though my surgeries were super painful and recovery was absolutely atrocious, right? It wasn't yeah, it was a lot. I knew that he was the one getting me through it. And I had my frustrations, and I was in middle school and high school, and I couldn't run, I couldn't sweat. I still can't wet my ears. Water hasn't entered my ear since I was 7 years old. So there's these things of like there's differences in my life, but at the same time, like God, I'm so grateful that I'm here, and um, definitely had moments of yelling and complaining and shaking my head at the Lord, but he was just loving on me,
Wow,
the whole
wow.
time.
So really what I'm hearing is gratitude. Like you just said, okay, I'm gonna take the path of gratitude because it's like this
Yeah.
isn't given anyway. So
Mhm.
I can either be resentful or I can be grateful for what I have.
Mhm. Yeah, gratitude goes a long way in all aspects of life and even today. So that's a good word to choose because I still try to go by that today.
And not to say it's easy. Like I don't want I'm sure there's other people who are like
Oh
suffering right now. They're
no.
like, don't tell me to be grateful. I'm like, life's hard right now. It's not good. Um, but well, thanks.
Yeah.
Okay, Chica, your turn.
Yeah. Um, I guess I'd like just preface it with, for me, like I've had my moments where I have loved God well, and those moments where I haven't loved Him, moments where I've experienced life without God in the sense that I thought I was without Him, and moments where I've just dove into a relationship with Him. Grew up a grew up Catholic. My family is Nigerian. It's a beautiful thing to be. My parents were like really active in the church, as well as my brothers being altar servers. My sister and I sang in the choir. And I just had catechists who made church alive, and it was fun. They were like Lucy and Ethel from I Love Lucy. They would play pranks on people. They would always get into shenanigans. So church was somewhere that I wanted to be. We had a great pastor, and just a great community. Although we were the only Catholic church in a Seventh-day Adventist community, so we had to know like the faith. We had so many Bibles and rosaries and catechisms like for every room in the house. It was just beautiful. But when I was a freshman, eighth grade going into ninth grade, I had a friend who passed away in a car accident
Mm,
along with four other students, and it kind of made me very angry and bitter towards God. Um, Really asking the question of like why. And from my freshman year of high school to my freshman year of college, I had 11 people, family and friends, pass away. And I was grasping, like very much Adam and Eve, well, I guess Eve, just like grasping at something to fulfill me. Made lots of really stupid mistakes, and God, in His infinite mercy, uh, just allowed me to, or no, he came to me. I was looking for, there's a song like from the 90s, dating myself, but like looking for love in all the wrong places, some like old pop Christian song. And I think the Lord was just like, nope, not there. Nope, not there either. Keep trying, baby. And finally He was just like, okay, you suck at this game. Like, I'm coming to you. So God definitely came to me in a moment of at a young adult retreat. Um, I had an intense experience of adoration as a freshman, and then again as a young adult in college. And just God does not disappoint. He always reveals Himself in some way or another. Yeah. And whether that's like, for me, it's been having a very compassionate priest in the confessional, and also just spending time with the Lord in adoration. That was way longer than a minute.
no, no,
Man, I'm not
that was
good at
great.
this.
Yeah. So,
It's like
um,
30 floors.
yeah,
Right?
you're, that's it. Yeah,
Just
it's like
kidding.
an LA building. We don't have buildings
Yeah,
like
we're
that
like
where
going
we're,
up, down, going to another building, and yeah,
or it's like
my
Elf,
bad,
like
y'all.
he hit all the buttons, and so it's like, well, we're gonna have a conversation here.
I
I
love
think I
that.
just, I think that song might be a lot older than the
It
'90s.
is way older.
No, 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 no. The Christian song, not the. There's a.
There's like a country song that's really, really twangy, bumpkiny. Like,
No, it's not that.
I was thinking like 80s, but it wasn't
Yo, how
Christian,
dare you?
so
Get out of here.
what?
Now I'm like, what is this song? Let me go get my phone, but
I
I'll wait
mean,
till
so
later.
Chica, you're like you and I are the same age, and so,
I'm
like
24.
you're 24. Well, I'm way older than you.
That's
She's
because I
not
lie.
24.
I can pass though sometimes. I was told once.
I know. I wish I had a picture up here. I don't know if I told you all this story when we were hanging out in
Oh
NCYC, but
my
did I tell
God.
you about when I shaved my head to make it look like I was an old man?
No, please,
So
No,
please
I
put up
missed
a
that
picture.
one.
I'll
Show
see
us
if I
a
can pull it up.
picture.
So my give me a second.
Oh
My
God.
when I was teaching high school Spanish, I made an agreement with my um I'm not logged into the account here, so I won't be able to pull it up. But I will. What I'll do is when I edit this, I'll throw the picture in here. So if you want to see it, you'll have to just go back and go to this point in the episode and watch it.
Good. So
I was
excited.
a teacher. I made a bet with my students that if they, as a class, they averaged a really high number on a test, that I would let them choose my haircut. And
Oh,
I didn't think they would get it at all. It was so high. It was like, there's no way the class is doing this.
I would
It was a
totally say
combination of
that.
them being really motivated, my pet test being a little easy. And so they told me that I had to shave a receding hairline all the way back to like
oh
here.
no.
And so, but like this hair stayed. And so it was the classic, like middle-aged man who's lost almost all his hair, but here, look.
Oh
And
no.
so I was 24 at the time.
Smart
And
kids.
Regina and I were, my wife, we were walking through the supermarket. So imagine this, like a 24-year-old couple walking
I'm
through.
sorry. How long did you keep this haircut for?
I had to keep it for a week.
Oh
So
man.
so just imagine, imagine you're in the supermarket and you see this couple, and it's like, that's a 24-year-old girl. That's a young girl. And Regina already looked young, so she could have been like 20.
Ooh.
Oh,
And it's like,
man.
Ooh.
with a really old guy. And it was just one of those, and then like we're holding hands, or I have my arm around her or something, and we were getting triple takes. Like people would look and then look again. And it had just kept getting better and better. And we just had, like, they couldn't figure us out.
Oh,
And
that's
then
Oh
awesome.
when I
gosh.
finally went to the barber shop to get it fixed at the end of the week, the guys were cracking up. They thought it was the best thing in the world. I mean, I walked in and all of the hair cutting stopped, and they just started laughing. Like there was, I mean, they were ruthless, but they
Oh,
appreciated
that's
it. So,
good.
Oh, that's
That's
awesome.
so good.
no, so what I like about your story, Chica, is there's like you were mad at God and you were frustrated with him, and I mean, like Job, and like really anybody else who's really suffered. Um, like you went through that, and then allowed God to be there with you and meet you on the other side.
Yeah. I remember the evening that my friend passed away. I'm the youngest of four and super nosy. And so when the call came in, it was late at night and I just knew something was wrong. And so my mom picked up the phone and I went to her door and I was listening in. And, then she told me everything that happened. And I just remember because this was after I went on a retreat. I had this amazing experience in adoration, a tangible experience where I rested in the spirit and I felt the presence of God and it lasted a month. People think like, oh, I'm Catholic, I'm Christian, life is going to be good, it's going to be so easy. And it's like, no, no, our faith is lived in the midst of trial and suffering. And if anyone, and especially the world, tries to tell you that just to be comfortable and eat your way through the difficulties or drink your way through this or just like whatever, just numb yourself to comfort. And and it's no, you have to like face it head on. And for me, and part of facing it was just like I need to be mad at God. And I told him, I was like, I hate you, I'm so angry with you and I hate you. And then the next day I was like, oh my gosh, what did I say? And I quickly repented. First and only time I've said that. Quickly repented. But I mean, that was very much like the day that everything shifted in my relationship with God, from like, hey, life is fun and I love you, to recognizing like, oh crap, God, I'm angry with you. And I was like a little kid, like when a baby, you have to discipline a child and you are their source of comfort, but yet they're mad at you. So it's kind of like, I need a hug from you, but also get away from me because I'm mad at you, but also be near to me because I need you. That's exactly how I was with God. Like, hold me, Lord, because you're my father and I need you. But at the same time, I'm also going to ignore you and act like you're not there because I'm still mad at all these things that are happening in my life. And I just didn't have good coping mechanisms. I wish someone said, hey, you really need therapy, or hey,
Mm.
do you want to talk about it? And it was more like, Nigerians, God bless us, it's kind of like, don't cry. In a Nigerian funeral, it's you dance away your sorrows, which is so beautiful, but also there's a little trauma going on. So,
Yeah, yeah.
um, yeah, so God was very patient and gentle with me uh, until like I needed a kick in the butt, and He was like, "Okay, are you ready to come back now?" Yeah,
He's a good God. He's very patient with us.
super patient.
Mm.
Man.
Well, now I want to, I love just asking people what should we do? So like you are both in the thick of it, like you see, and I mean, granted, there's no one quick fix. There's not a silver bullet. The church didn't get into this position overnight, where lots of people are leaving. So we're not going to get out of it overnight. It's going to be a long, slow process to for the church to be really healthy again. But what do you see? It could be like one thing, or it could be a set of habits that you wish every Catholic would start doing now.
Mm.
Nose goes.
I think I got it.
Okay, go ahead.
I this is gonna sound, I don't know how it's gonna sound, but I wish Catholics around actually spent time to have a relationship with the Lord. Honestly, I feel like that makes the world of a difference. Like,
Yeah, yeah,
genuinely committed yourself to have conversational prayer time with the Lord. I'm not just talking, the rosary is beautiful and our fathers are beautiful and divine mercies are beautiful and all these things are beautiful, but in order for like your life to be transformed and for you to see the beauty of the church, you need to have that relationship with the Lord, to let your heart be united to his heart, to understand why he's the only one that you can really rely on, to understand the goodness of what he's calling you to, so that he can show you who you really are. And if you have a relationship with him, like a real relationship with him, then you're going to know your identity and you're going to know where you're called and you're going to say yes to him, and you're going to be able to go out and evangelize, because the lover of your soul, right, your heavenly father, your best friend, you're going to be spending time with him and he's going to guide your every step. I mean, it sounds so simple and yet so complicated. I think we have a lot of Catholics that just rather have images of Jesus and Mary everywhere, and talk about the God, but won't dedicate the time to actually be seen by him, to allow themselves to be seen by him and to see him. I think that would just make everything, man, that'd be huge.
yeah, yeah. I what something you said, let themselves be seen by him. That
Mm-hmm.
that strikes me as immediately being very difficult,
Mm-hmm.
because I don't know that people like themselves enough to be seen by him. And
Mm.
there, there's whether it's self-loathing or shame or whatnot, but the thought of being seen
Or
by God.
pain.
Yeah,
It's
yeah, all
they,
sorts of
there's so many different things that it's hard. It's vulnerability, and to be vulnerable means to allow yourself to be hurt.
yeah,
And we don't understand. It's hard, and so even if it's God, because you've been hurt so much and because you have so much pain, it's difficult even with the Lord. But man, is it worth it? So it's the best thing that I could tell
yeah,
anyone.
yeah. Well, so let's say I'm that person. I'm that Catholic who I love the rote prayers and the memorized ones, and I can rattle off all these novenas and I can tell you about all the promises. Um, but I don't really have that conversational prayer with the Lord. How do I get started?
Hi, Jesus. I know it sounds weird, but in the same way you talk to a friend, and people will say, yeah, but he's God, he knows. So, yeah, yeah, but he wants to hear from you. And when you vocalize it and when you actually write it down and you are real, like authentically real in prayer, where you have moments that you're like, Jesus, this is a great day. And you have moments that you're like, I'm pissed and I don't understand this and I'm hurt. And when you don't filter with God, because you don't need to filter with God, but I think we grow up thinking you have to filter because
Yeah.
he's
Oh yeah,
God.
yeah,
And like, yeah,
Mhm.
worship him, but like he's father, he's God, he's best friend, and he just wants your authentic self. And I think when we can just be real and have a conversation with him and just tell him about your day and tell him about your fears and your hopes and your dreams, it makes the world of a difference. And of course, dive into scripture and all the things that he has so that he can speak back to you. Listen to praise and worship music, these songs that just wreck you in the best way possible. Yeah, so I would just say that. Start by saying hello.
there we go.
Mhm.
That's a great way to start a conversation with anybody too. So if
Mhm.
there's that person you like, hey, if you're listening and there's somebody you have been meaning to talk to and you're intimidated, just go say hello. Whether it's Jesus
There
or
you go.
well, Chica, I hope that wasn't your answer. That was a really good one.
Okay, actually, it was though. So
Okay, well, you got to give us something else then.
which is like why I like
Sorry.
try to on the slide grab my phone real quick because I was like, okay, do you have a number? But that I just to reiterate what Madi said, I think the first thing really is the more time we spend with Jesus, the more we look like Jesus. And the
Yeah.
more we can love like Jesus. So prayer is always going to be my number one answer. And then I had to look up this quote because I didn't want to well, misquote it. But Mother Teresa says, if we have no peace, it's because we've forgotten that we belong to each other.
Mm.
And I I don't know, I don't think it's just because of the virus that has, the pandemic and everything, but we've really forgotten that we like each other for the most part. I mean, there are some people we're not going to like, and some people aren't going to like us, and that's perfectly fine. That's life. But we are still called to be the body of Christ,
Mm.
and we have to do life together.
Mm.
Um, and the more we remember that and we live outside of like Jesus is the prime example of he could have come in this princely fashion that everyone needed to serve him, and he said like I came to serve and not to be served. So how do we live like Jesus? And when we have joy and when we have peace and we have the fruits of the spirit, it can't help but just to overflow onto others. And we have the gift of free will, and so some people are going to reject us, and um, we're not going to get along with everyone, but we are still called to love like Jesus, and that's hard. Having the fruit of the spirit of joy in the midst of suffering because others have caused us harm, like that's difficult. Um, in the tumult that we're living in now, especially with um, just like the racial injustice and all sorts of things, like we need to look at each other with love and call each other onto holiness. And yeah, I just think we've really forgotten how to love one another well. um and it doesn't help the pandemic of like, oh, stay inside your house, and we kind of look at people with suspicion. And I have some germ issues, so anyone coughs, I'm like, what's that about, but
Right.
at the same time,
She
i
does.
I really do. But I think
Don't
of like,
take
was
my
it
hand at mass.
Right, whoa. Is it Saint Catherine of Siena? Like there's some saint, I don't remember who this is, but I always ask like, Mother Teresa, like, how did you do this, Mother Teresa? Or I think it's Saint Catherine of Siena,
Yeah,
who
yeah.
someone like she sucked the pus out of someone's wound so that they can be healed. And I'm like, but how, friends? Like, how? Tell me. I don't want to do that. Like I
Yeah.
understand, like, Padre Pio, like I would love to bilocate, but I also don't want to have like physical fights with the devil. Like Mother Teresa, I would love to learn how to love like you, but I also don't want to pick worms out of people's bodies. But Jesus, give me the grace to do what I can do to love other people the way that you want me to do that. Like if I'm trying to be like a Mother Teresa, I'm gonna be a hot mess and a half. But if I can just be like Chika, the way that Jesus wants me to be Chika, and love other people, I think that's part of the mission.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, that
Oh,
by the way, we're not advocating anybody perfectly emulate Catherine of Siena in that way. Like, I don't know
please
why
don't.
she did that, or if God wanted her to. Like, that's one of those things, like,
Her
if that's
life was
yeah, that was like that was a long time ago. They didn't understand medicine the way maybe that was like,
Yeah.
they're like, "Suck the poison out," or "Suck the" you like, "That's what you gotta do."
oh,
So,
Yeah.
but I'm glad we don't do that now. That'd be rough.
So
No, that
bad.
but I remember that story. That actually motivated me when it was like, "Okay, Lord, if that's what you're calling me to do, I gotta do stuff like that." Like, and I'm glad the opportunity never presented itself because I might have been like, "All right, I get like this stinks. I just gotta do it." But, um, well, that's a beautiful answer as well. I've thought a lot about that recently, and especially in terms of friendship. Um, I have great friends who sometimes get
Oh.
on my nerves, and
Mm.
it's really easy to think like, well, if they were like a better Catholic, then they wouldn't like get on my nerves, or they wouldn't have done that, or they wouldn't have upset me. And I'm realizing like maybe it's not that novel of an insight, and other people just like have already understood this. Like my friends are my friends, and they're not perfect. Like I'm still there. I love them, and I have to love them in their imperfection and their sinfulness. So that means sometimes like I might get mad at them, And the right thing to do is not say, well, you're not my friend anymore. Like we're done, forget it. But say like, okay, what's the next step? Like and even if I'm still mad at them, like what's the simplest thing I can do to express my love and affection for them? Um,
Mhm.
and that, I mean, it might simply be like not sneering at them, but
Yeah,
it's probably a lot more than that, but you never know.
that's
But
a real thing though. I had to pray about like my thoughts. Like when someone
Mm,
would irritate me, I may not say it out loud, but I would think it.
yeah,
And
yeah,
I would get so upset. And sometimes even like having these situations or scenarios that weren't even taking place, but I'm like, but if they do, I'm gonna say this and I'm gonna have it ready. And I would just be so upset or annoyed or angry. And they don't deserve that.
no,
And they weren't necessarily doing any because I'm annoyed by them, it doesn't mean that they're doing anything wrong. And so I remember there's a period of time where I had to ask the Lord to, know, really help me have like honorable thoughts towards other people,
mm,
yeah, yeah,
and to have charitable thoughts towards them as well. Yeah,
yeah.
that's definitely a real thing.
Yeah. I mean, even in marriage, like it's something you have to be judicious with, and
Mm,
it would be very easy to just let resentment and anger get in. And I think
mm,
that's really how, I mean, that most beautiful friendship gets poisoned is people
yeah.
allow resentment to come in, and
mhm,
that's how you see people who were best friends so deeply in love like lose it all. And I mean, what a
mm,
shame. So I think that's that's a challenge for Christians today of not letting friendships die
mhm,
when it would be very easy to do so. So
mm.
Yeah.
Jesus didn't let his friendships die.
He
And
died instead.
yeah, people, people were really bad to him. Like, hey, remember that time you killed me? Like I still
Still got the words to prove it, just in case.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. In case you forgot.
Oh
Yeah.
Um,
man.
but okay, well, if it's
That's
okay,
funny.
we've started when we do interviews, we started a tradition of ending with hot takes at the end. So I'll just ask you rapid fire questions, and
Ah,
um,
It's always get me in trouble.
I
yeah,
know.
um, but they're all pretty tame. So and that it's really we can do nose goes. So like whoever do you do that? Like are you familiar with that? So
So
like somebody asks a
I've
question.
never really done it, but
Oh, okay, well, you're about to do it unless you want to
there you
answer all
go.
the questions first.
Okay, go, 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 go.
Okay, who has better food, Cali or Miami?
Oh wait, Miami, duh, 100%.
Chica?
Uh, I'm gonna have
No,
to go with
it's
Cali.
but she's never been to
No,
Miami. It's not
but
fair. I've been
that's
to
why
both.
I was silent. That's why I was. I've been to the airport in Miami,
That
so
doesn't count. That doesn't count,
That's
Chica. That
not no,
doesn't
it does
count.
not count. That is not the same as Pinecrest Bakery.
She can answer
oh
that after she comes to visit me.
Yeah,
Thank
there we
you.
go,
my
there we go.
lord.
Okay, now, Marty, why do you say so why does Miami have better food?
Okay, so here's my thing, right? Miami is like a country within a state, right?
That's
And we have
very true,
representation
100%.
of like all these countries. And so you have like little Haiti, little DR, little Cuba, little everything, Peru. So we have incredible cuisine from all these countries in one city. California, even though it has really good food, it's more like they have really good Mexican food, they have really good Thai food, they have like sushi, but like it's not as eclectic or like variety based as Miami. I'm just
Okay,
saying.
but we also are saying like Miami, a city versus the whole state of California.
It's
So
Miami
I
is its own
mean,
country, Chica.
I have told people so many times Miami is a
yeah,
foreign country. Like it's its own place. Now,
That's what I'm
Chica has a
saying.
good point. Like California is the second biggest state. I mean, well, third, but Alaska, I mean, there's not a lot of people there. Sorry to my friend John. He's listening right now and he used to live there. He'll be like, Alaska's totally a state. Um, but that's a tough one. But I would say like
But
I
Cali
love
does have good food, I will say.
yeah.
They do.
amazing food.
Okay. All right.
Because well,
Well,
we also have like our cultural hubs. Yes, ma'am, we do. And even like even in like
I thought you were gonna
did
bring
we
up In
not
and Out, and I was like, don't do it. Don't do it.
no, but we have like okay, so like American foods, you have like In and Out, but when you came and visited, did we not go and get like the birria tacos and all of that?
Yeah,
And they were amazing and you can get
they're
really
really
great
good.
sushi. And then we went up to the mountains And so we also have the views. So you can get amazing food and amazing views.
Okay, we're not talking about views. We're
So
talking about food.
Oh, this is getting
I
into a real
said
throwdown.
both. You can do both.
Yeah, but
It's
nobody
like,
can swim in your ocean.
that is
It's so
not
true.
true.
It's
No,
freezing,
no.
Chika.
Because it's like 100 degrees. So then you go and dip in the
Okay.
ocean where it's nice and refreshing, rather it being like a bathtub. It's
For like
all
4 seconds. It's so cold.
Freezing.
no, it is delightful. I miss
Sorry.
California. I haven't
Come to
So-
Miami. Thank you.
Yeah. So In-N-Out has come up on the show before, and there's
I just
some
don't
strong
get it.
opinions about In-N-Out.
I don't get it.
Mhm.
I just don't see
No,
it.
it's but what do you have like that is like an equivalent to In-N-Out? If you're gonna talk about a burger place where you can get a delicious burger and fries, you can get a milkshake, and it's you can either eat in or you can do a drive-through and great customer service.
Have you ever
What
been to
do you have
McDonald's?
that's equivalent? Oh,
Don't say
I-
what's wrong with
I'm
you,
done.
Dan?
I'm just
Dan, get away.
I'm
Walk out.
angry. I have
Walk
been
out, Dan. Oh, I would say like I don't know, like Shake Shack or like
Yeah,
no.
or
something else delicious.
Steak Shack,
I just
Steak
don't-
and
That's
Shake.
because y'all
In and out,
taste
stick it
buds
in and out
have
after like
been-
5 minutes. It just doesn't taste good.
You oh, I was gonna
You
say
get animal
words.
style, and then the fries just get super hard, and then it's just not fun anymore.
I'm
You have
sorry,
to eat
that's
it right
because
away.
you've been used
doesn't
to the
preserve
plastic
well. It's
food of
just not-
McDonald's.
No,
That's not even
no,
a
I'm
real
not
fry.
talking about
You
McDonald's.
eat a McDonald's
It's
fry,
ridiculous.
and then it gets lost in your car. A year later, you find it in the same shape.
Yeah.
It doesn't even like degrade because it's
I
not
just
real
don't-
food.
So
I just
Chica,
don't see it.
I don't really go to McDonald's either, but like we've got Chick-fil-A here, and I think the world is
Chick-fil-A is
basically
Chick-fil-A's
phenomenal.
everywhere.
yeah, but
It's
it's
so
it's
good.
from the South originally, so
Oh, that's
Georgia.
true. Yeah,
we
yeah.
claim it. Okay, well we could spend a lot of time talking on this, but like so pastelitos in Miami, like they're in Café con Leche. It's
Get some mofongo, and then we'll
yeah,
talk.
mofongo is so good. That's legit.
Is that the
That's
thing
legit.
I ate when I was in New York? It's like the plantains with the
Part of it, yes.
Garlic
okay.
Mhm.
and chicharron. Yeah, it's really, really
Mhm.
good. So okay, wow. All right, that was not so much a hot take, but that was a good one. So all right, this one
Angry
won't be
take.
contentious. I don't think we'll argue over this one. Sorry, Chica, I'm not trying to hate on California or In-N-Out. But and by the way, when I made the scarf comment earlier, I hope that didn't sound like I was hating on the scarf at all. I really like scarves.
Oh no, this scarf is gorgeous. I'm
Oh,
not
yeah,
worried
it's a
about
nice
your
scarf.
thoughts on it, 'cause
Florida
it
is
is
never cold
delightful.
enough to wear scarves, and I wear them anyway.
That's
And
true.
people-
I was about to say we still wear them.
Yeah,
That's
people are
because
probably like,
cold weather
look at that
clothes.
guy.
Well, it's
So-
for fashion. Here, I'm like, I've legit bought so much stuff that's like I bought something that's like as a balaclava or something, whatever. It's like a ski mask, and I bought it for like walking outside. Who'd have thought? Who'd have
Yeah.
thought? Anyway.
Okay, next question. Favorite book of the Bible and why?
Ooh, okay.
Oh man, that's hard.
I'm gonna. Oh man.
Can
don't
I-
know.
Okay, so my favorite, it's a toss-up between a couple, but I'll say that
I'll do
John
that.
chapter 14 is actually like my favorite, hands down, like my favorite book. Or like chapter, book and chapter, because you have everything from like I'm the way, the truth, and the life. In my Father's house, there are many rooms. You can do greater things than I. You have the Holy Spirit, the advocate is coming. Like there's just
Yeah,
so much good in John chapter 14.
Oh wow, you even have a chapter. Like
Yeah, I'm not doing that. Don't give me a chapter. Your question was book.
Marty just likes all of it. Like the whole thing. The whole thing's good.
Well, yeah, originally I was like Sirach when I was like first getting back to my faith. I feel like it's a really good one that is underappreciated. John is my favorite gospel, and then just like the letters. I'm sorry, like Romans, Philippians, Ephesians.
Romans is good. I love
Romans is fire. Romans is so
Yeah.
good. So I just chose like 5.
No, those
Thank
yeah,
you.
that's fine. I love Luke's gospel because of how much we see the Father's mercy and love come through, especially
Oh, that's a good one.
Luke 15,
Yeah.
the prodigal son and the good
Mhm.
shepherd
Lost
and
coin.
the lost coin. Yeah, and it's like
So good.
just anytime you're feeling far from God, read that. It's like that's how much He loves you. Good stuff. Okay, cheeseburgers or pizza?
Depends a
Cheeseburger.
day. Not choosing.
You do love food. You can't, yeah.
I This is
Yeah.
ridiculous.
No,
No,
that's
both.
when I was writing that, I was like, I don't even know. That's an unfair question. That's one of those ones. It's not like,
Oh,
I sh-
mm, I answered it. Cheeseburger.
but
Okay, what are your pizza toppings?
Everything.
yeah, I was about to say everything. Like,
I
there's
just
not
want
a
all
lot
of
that
it.
doesn't belong on a pizza.
Yeah, seriously.
I'm gonna say this.
Dominicans, you don't like pineapple. Are you a pineapple person?
No,
Oh,
I
okay.
love I love
Dominicans put corn on
salty.
pizza.
Oh yeah, I don't really
There's
love
a
that.
place in Los Angeles called Rosemead Pizza where you can get an elote pizza. So I'm just saying, come on over. So I like salty, sweet, and heat. So I like a pineapple, pepperoni, and jalapeno pizza.
That sounds good.
That sounds good.
Amazing.
Take away the jalapeno, and then I'm
You
there.
need to
It's
I
not
fine.
like
say
I like
things.
the
Yeah.
heat. Yeah, no, I like heat on everything. So
Hmm.
I was actually just talking with a friend earlier today. Regina doesn't like heat on anything, and so whenever I'm cooking, if I add heat to it, I just have to add it after the fact, and it's
Mhm.
Oh,
so in heaven there will be spicy food, but
yeah.
oh
Or not. Or not.
okay, and this one's just kind of silly. Tropical island or winter wonderland?
Tropical island.
Tropical island unless it's December. If it's December, I want winter wonderland. Only in December.
Why
It's
December?
December and there's no
Because it's
winter
Christmas time and
wonderland.
I want to go with Christmas songs and sing songs about snow while it's actually snowing and not just sand.
Yeah, no, fair enough. I do get tired of like 80-degree weather all year round. I wouldn't
I
mind
only
just like
want it for 1 month though. That's
yeah,
it.
a month. Like that's enough.
That's
Because
it.
then you can take the scarves out and then you put them away. So, but what's the weather like in Pittsburgh right now, Chica?
It's weird. It's like, oh, it's a heat wave. It was in the 50s. Like no joke.
That's
That's like
warm.
that's
It's pretty warm.
literally yeah, that
Yeah.
was like, oh
Mhm.
my gosh, today was like warm. I'm only wearing one pair of pants today. I was only wearing one shirt today, not like for the past couple days it's been like two pairs of pants and whatever. So right now it's 39 degrees and it was a high of 53. It's going to have a low of 30. So this is actually a lot warmer than it has been. There have been a couple days where it's like 20, but this morning I walked outside, it was like 27 degrees or 24 degrees. And again, just in shirts and a shirt, like, or wait, pants and a shirt. There we go. Yeah.
It's a little cool here too. It's at 74.
Ooh,
So it's like a
I'm
little
under that.
breeze.
Yeah.
I
I
got my
can so
sweater.
I have a superpower. I can get sunburned in Florida all year long. Like even I could go outside today. If I were outside too long, I would get sunburned.
Your sweet
That's
So
nice.
skin.
what's that?
Isn't it like when it's cloudy, that's when it's like the worst?
It can't well, I mean,
It can be.
for me, yeah, like I have had friends tease me for putting sunscreen on when it's cloudy. And they're like, "Really, Dan? Like
No.
what's going on?" And it like, "Look, you have sunglasses on. If you're protecting your eyes, I'm going to protect my skin." So,
Go ahead now. Yep.
yeah. Yeah. I think I kind of already accidentally asked the last one, but I'll ask it again just to see if we get a different answer. So, what practice of discipleship do you wish every Catholic would start doing now?
We did answer the
I know, yeah, yeah.
Like
Okay.
right now,
What's
right
the
now.
next one that they should all do?
spend time in adoration and go to
Mm,
confession.
confession.
Confession and adoration will like change
Yeah.
your life. Like literally do that. Thank
Yeah.
you.
It's
Yeah.
easy. It's easy to wake up and be like, "Wow, it's been like 4 months since I've gone to confession."
Yeah.
If you think about it, like you can commit a lot of sins in 4 months.
John
In
Paul
a
II went to
day.
confession like every week or something.
Yeah, yeah.
Bro,
He's
I
probably
think
confessing for me.
All right, so Marty had 2, and so Chica, what would you say? And you can't use her answers.
No, that was I said you can ay, confession is a definite one. And honestly, I think a legitimate prayer for the church.
Mm,
Because a lot of people are angry with the church, have been hurt by the
mm,
church,
Yeah.
have been hurt by people who've claimed authority, like on speaking on behalf of the church.
mm.
And, I always tell people like Mother Church is perfect, but her members are not. And we have to be able to differentiate. But we also, I mean, it's so frustrating when um, there are people who are prominent Catholics who are speaking on behalf of the church and they have no authority to.
Mhm.
And the things that they're saying are not the fullness of truth. And so we need to really honestly pray for unification within the church. Pray for our priests who are being attacked on every front, um, and and in multiple ways. Like they're being spiritually attacked. They are lonely and they need good community. Or they're falling into the trap of, like, the pitfalls of the internet, or of some cultural things and whatnot. And for Pope Francis, like, man, I wish people would pray for him, like an authentic prayer, not like, let me not say what people have said, but an
Yeah.
authentic prayer for
I
Pope
thought she was gonna say it.
Francis, of like, just Jesus, like, love him and let him love you, and guide him as he prays and leads the Catholic faith, and grant him wisdom rather than, like, all these other prayers. So, like, yes, confession, and pray for, like, Mother Church, for good priests, good religious, and for us to be great lay people as well.
Those are good.
Yeah.
That's a great place to stop.
Mhm.
Well, ladies, thanks so much. This was a lot of fun. I really appreciate you taking the time to talk with us, and
Yeah.
can't wait to put this one out there. I think people are really going to appreciate it.
Thanks for having us. This is great.
Oh, you bet. Well, God bless you both. Have a wonderful evening, and look forward to maybe the next time.